Welcome to Holley Terminator X Training Part 7. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at our keystrokes and editing techniques that we have available in our Terminator X software. When we're trying to edit something like our fuel table, we need to know how to work in percentage change so that when we're editing it, we can make the proper changes in going along with the calibration process. Now, after we make the changes, we have to learn how to use blending and smoothing functions so the table is going to be smooth and the table is going to make sense. So I'm going to be sharing with you how to go and use proper editing techniques, whether we're going to be in a two-dimensional or a three-dimensional table. There's a lot to learn. Let's jump into our video here so we can learn about working with our editing techniques.
Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at our keystrokes and editing techniques that we have available in our Terminator X software. Now, this is going to be a very important part of our calibration process. We need to know how to make our editing changes correctly in our fuel table compared to our spark timing table. So if we're working in our fuel, we typically work in terms of percentage. If we're working in our spark timing table, we typically add or subtract timing. Once we make our changes, we need to know how to do an interpolation function so we can re-smooth the map out so we don't have a high or a low point in the map and everything's going to be blended properly. So there's a whole bunch of things we need to look at. Let's first jump in and take a look at a three-dimensional table. We're specifically going to start with our fuel table. I'll show you how to go and edit those properly, working with your mathematical functions and interpolation feature. So first thing we're going to do is jump up here to our fuel ICF icon. Let's click on this. We find that we have our base fuel table open. Now the base fuel table is a three-dimensional table. We have two axes that we're dealing with. We have our map pressure here as our load input. We also have engine RPM down here. That's going to be our engine speed input to the table. So a three-dimensional table is going to have two axes available. A two-dimensional table will be something like one of our, if we jump down in here to our temp enrichment, and we're taking a look at something like our air temp enrichment. This is a two-dimensional table. We can see here we're only dealing with essentially one axis, which is going to be our manifold air temp down here, and then we make our percentage adjustments based on that. So this is a two-dimensional table. This is a three-dimensional table. And how we edit these are going to be a bit different. We're going to use a different strategy to work with the values in here. So let's first focus here on our three-dimensional table. When we do our fuel tuning, we generally want to go and make our changes in terms of percent. Now, if we're taking a look down here in our lower left pane, in our live status update here, this is going to be all of our live data. We can see it's streaming right now. We're going to have this parameter here called CL comp or closed loop comp. This is our short-term fuel trim adjustment. We're going to get into this in a little bit later video here in the training course, but what we'll find is that this is going to tell us how far our base table is off from the target air fuel that we want to be at. So it's going to be comparing the actual air fuel to the target air fuel. So it's going to show us what the computer is making an adjustment to the injector pulse with in order to have both the target and the actual air fuel matching each other. Now we can use that in our calibration here to update the base table. So we want to make sure that the base table values are going to be correct so that it's delivering the correct amount of injector pulse width so that our target and our actual air fuel are in line with each other. So when we do have our closed loop comp being applied here, we'll find that it's maybe plus or minus 2 or 3%, indicating that we have a good base fuel table that's tuned and dialed in properly. Now, if we're finding that there is a discrepancy, we need to update our base table. So if we're seeing here that our closed loop comp is showing at idle conditions that it's off by, let's say, 15%, we need to know how to go into the table and work with a mathematical function to reduce our table values here by 15%, and then we need to learn how to blend those changes back into our table. The process is actually really simple. First thing we're going to notice here is that we have our little bubble live. I'm online with my ECU. This cursor is going to be showing us the position we're operating at. Right now I have my key on engine off, so we can see right now RPM is showing stall, and my map pressure, if I flip back here, is showing here approximately probably 100 kPa. Well, we can see right here in the load axis, approximately 100 kPa. So we're key on engine off, the engine's not running. If I fired up my engine, I'm going to find that it's going to idle anywhere between 500 to, let's say, 1,000 RPM. I'm going to be in this range, and I'm typically going to be anywhere from 70 to around 30 kPa in my engine vacuum. Depending on the size camshaft that I'm running, it's going to vary a bit. So let's assume we're in this range right here. So this is going to be where we would want to make our editing change. Again, if we're noticing that our closed loop comp, if we go back here, go back to fuel tuning, notice that our closed loop comp's reporting that it's 15% off. And it's telling us, let's say it's negative 15. We want to update our idle area if we're at idle conditions by 15%. So what we'll do here is highlight the area we want to edit. We're going to go here and right click. we're going to go down here to offset.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.